Greetings, folks. Welcome to Mindful X 365. I'm Justin McBride, and this is the daily series where we consider quotes, concepts, and contradictions that can support us on our journey of experiencing life mindfully. Today's consideration: notifications, benefit or burden? Before we get into today's consideration, let's start off with a quick body scan and a little intentional breathing. I'm going to close my eyes and turn my focus down to my toes, turning my focus to my big toe and then to the toe right next to that, perhaps pressing each of them against the floor, or if I'm sitting with my legs crossed, I could always just wiggle each toe, going from the big toe all the way over to the pinky toe, turning my focus to my ankles and moving up through my calves, maybe flexing the muscles, and continuing all the way through my knees and my thighs. If you have any area of discomfort, simply make a mental note of the discomfort. Don't spend too much time on the discomfort and focusing on it. Just make a quick mental note and keep moving all the way up your body at your own pace. I'm up to my middle back right now. Sometimes I flex or move my back or whatever area I'm focusing on slightly. As I focus there, as I come to my chest, I turn my attention to my breath, taking a deep breath in and out. Each time I breathe in or breathe out, pausing for a moment in between each in and out breath, just to be a little bit more aware and intentional of that in and out breath. Breath in. And out. One more in and out. All right. Thank you for joining me for a little intentional breathing. Today's consideration again is notifications, benefit or burden. Now, when I say notification, my brain, and I'm sure many of yours, immediately goes to this magical little device that we carry around in our pocket that tends to buzz or make a noise and notify us of something. But notifications can mean a lot more than that. Notifications can be something that we feel on our body. Maybe when you were doing a body scan right now, you felt something as you were moving your focus up your body, or you became aware of an area of tightness, or maybe there was a shooting pain when you were trying to focus on intentional breathing. Well, that shooting pain, that tightness in a muscle, even an emotional notification, being on the road and somebody cuts you off and you immediately have an unpleasant emotion that comes out of that experience. Those are all notifications that can provide us the opportunity to course correct or just be aware of something that is there in the first place. Now, notifications can also be something that are not beneficial in that they last a little longer than appropriate. Or maybe they come out of nowhere and we aren't fully aware of what it is that notification is representing, right? That fear, that anxiety, anxiety. That's something I've dealt with for quite a while, and I know many people that also experience it. Whether your anxiety is connected to a traumatic experience or it's connected to a chemical imbalance in your body, it's not always going to be connected to something that we need to fix, right? Um, and being aware of the notifications and what the notifications are resulting in or what they're causing is really important, at least for me. When I am aware of a notification of my heart racing and I take a moment to ask myself, why is my heart racing? It can help me in kind of preventing that moment of anxiety or a potential panic attack or whatever it may be from setting in. Now, sometimes the asking of why is my heart racing can also lead into more panic, right? I know many people who I've heard talk about this, the idea of like, oh, my heart's racing. Why is my heart racing? And then they get stuck on, well, I have to figure out why my heart's racing. What is it that I'm anxious about? Then I become anxious about being anxious and anxious about finding the reason to be anxious. So it is a balance of asking those questions. Why am I feeling anxious? Why is my heart racing? What is this notification coming from? I have a notification that I get from external sources. If you happen to be watching, you just saw my cat pass through the screen, and I get notifications from him and from other people. Perhaps his is a notification, a meow, or an aggressive meow, and it's saying, "Hey, you haven't fed me yet." That's an appropriate notification. There are also inappropriate external notifications as well. Sam might meow a little bit more often than he should, even after I've fed him, maybe trying to get an extra treat or two. Now, how I respond to that notification is just as important as how appropriate the notification was to begin with. Turning our focus or the conversation back to our phones, we can take steps to be deliberate in which notifications we allow in the first place and when we allow those notifications. It's completely acceptable to turn your phone off or to turn it on to do not disturb. And do not disturb is different than vibrate. Do not disturb means you're not going to get notifications most of the time. And you can change your do not disturb settings on many phones. But I know a lot of us, we get anxiety tied to not wanting to let people down. Or what if somebody calls us? What if we get a text? What if something happens and we have to be available at that moment? The reality is, most of the time, we don't. Most of the time, we can come back to that notification when it's appropriate. And in the times where you're trying to focus on a specific task or you're in a meeting perhaps with somebody else and you do know that there's something you're waiting to be notified about that you do need to respond to in a timely manner, it's totally okay to let that other person know or to let yourself know, to set up limits, boundaries, to say, hey, I'm waiting to hear back from somebody about XYZ. If my phone goes off and it's from them, I might need to take a moment to call them or to respond to them in a text, and then I'll bring my focus back. But then when that occurs and there is a notification on your phone, take a quick look at it. Is it from the person or about the situation that you know is the more pressing issue that's time sensitive? If it is, go ahead, take care of what you need to take care of. But if it's not, put the phone back down, or the tablet back down. Whatever it happens to be, whatever electronic device that's tied to the notification, it's okay to take control over how those notifications impact your life. Whether notifications are coming from a device or from a peer or a spouse or something internal, being aware of the notifications, being aware of how that notification is impacting you, and being aware of how that notification is stealing your focus is important. And it's an opportunity not to be judgmental of yourself when a notification distracts you or takes you away from what you're trying to do. Just make a mental note of that, right? Oh, notification. I'm being notified. And each time a notification pops up, whether it's internal or external, make a mental note of what that notification is all about. And if it is a notification that is, oh, this is a life and death situation, well, maybe you should approach that notification 100% in that moment and turn your focus to whatever you're being notified about. But if that notification is not something that's benefiting you in that moment, or even more, it's hurting you in the long run or in the short term, make a mental note of that as well. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. If you have any questions or comments, head on over to www.mindfulx.net. This is our free from ads, free to sign up for platform where you can find support and support others as it relates to experiencing life mindfully. Again, I'm Justin McBride. Remember, mindfulness is only a few intentional breaths away. I'm going to partake in a little intentional breathing myself right now. I invite you to go ahead and join along with me. Again, making sure my feet are planted comfortably on the floor and I'm sitting upright. Or perhaps you're sitting with your legs crossed on a cushion or on the floor. Maybe you're standing up, or maybe you're even laying down. Make sure your body is in an upright or straight manner with your arms to your side or gently in your lap, and your feet side by side or stacked above your knees. Take a deep breath in and out. Breath in and out. Continue breathing on your own, and if you decide that you want to continue into a longer meditation or just a few more intentional breaths, if you happen to become distracted for a moment, maybe something else pops in your mind, but you are still wanting to continue on your intentional breathing session or meditation session, make a mental note of that distraction without judgment. Just say, hello, I see you, distraction. Remind yourself where you're at. Return your focus to your breath, perhaps on your breath as it enters your body or as it leaves. And continue your intentional breaths as long as you like.